I want to ask about Tommy Robinson. From your perspective as a Muslim growing up in Luton and living in Luton, when you hear about Tommy Robinson and what he's getting up to, what were your thoughts? How was he portrayed as a person? What was he thought of within Luton, within the Pakistani community?
So I didn't know what his issue was. I was told he's a racist, he hates Muslims, he hates all of us, brown people. That's all I knew. I never knew his story. I never knew where he's coming from. I never knew what happened. Now, when I look back, that wasn't the full truth, right? Because actually, my understanding is like he knew someone who was groomed, and actually he saw behaviors where there were extremists and stuff like that, and none of that was spoken about at all. He was like the image of someone who hates us. Like, he's Hitler, right? He's trying to get us. He's trying to kill us all. That is what I was told. That he's the bad guy. And it's taken me so many years to look into actually what is he saying. Oh, I didn't know that. Was it his cousin that was groomed? Oh, actually, he's talking about extremists here, and was there funding from outside of this extremist organization in Luton? Never knew that, right? So there was more to the story, but we weren't told that.
So you changed your opinion on him?
So I'm going to reserve judgment until I meet him. I do plan to have a chat with him because I think it's impossible to reunite this country when Tommy Robinson is a big figure that a lot of people in the country do look up to. He does have a massive following on X, like 1.4 million people. And I feel like it's impossible to unite this country without him giving me a chance or me giving him a chance. So that conversation needs to happen at some point. We will see what happens.
Now, I know I've asked a little bit about how your personal journey, but it's now that I've heard you and talk about various topics and trying to put it all together, you're clearly a free thinker, and you clearly have great courage to take the narrow path, let's say. No? Courage,
a little bit, but yeah.
Well, I wondered, I asked a little bit what about the sort of breaking point to sort of speak out on YouTube, but I wondered, you talk about what happened when you were 16 years old, and then the picture you get in Luton of characters like Tommy Robinson. But was there a moment where you sort of started to come out as the patriot, the British patriot that you are, that you actually sort of rejected some of the more extreme things you were hearing? Was there a moment in your life where that happened?
So everything that I am is because of all the life experiences that I have. But one recent moment was a spark for me where I think was like, oh, do you know what? Maybe my attitude's not right. So I had a Muslim British-born Pakistani manager very recently. And when the whole Israel versus Palestine thing happened, and of course I was condemning, all the children are dying, and I was a pro-Palestinian at the time.
Is this since October 7th or before?
This is after 7th October. I didn't know what happened on 7th October. I didn't know the detail. All I knew was that Israel was bombing Palestine, and I was like, oh my God, children are dying, and the mosques are being, the hospitals, and I was like, I jumped on that bandwagon. Of course, and that is disgusting. I condemn that. But I was one of those people who was behaving as if I've got a chip on my shoulder and blaming Britain and all that kind of stuff. And then my British Pakistani Muslim manager said one thing to me in the one-to-one that we had. He's like, just make sure you don't have a us versus them mentality. He just said that to me, that little thing.
Who's the us and them in that?
Muslims and everyone else. And I didn't realize I was displaying those behaviors. So, but because I was quite honest with him about how I'm thinking, I'm like, this, and because I had to take a short leave from work because of the images of the children in Gaza, like the blown up bodies and stuff like that. Psychologically messed me up. I had to get tablets to tackle my anxiety. So then I was honest with him about how I'm feeling, like, oh my God, it's crazy, and Britain's supplying weapons to Israel. Like we need to do all this. And I was a pro-Palestinian at the time. And then my mind, that was the spark. And I was like, oh my God. Then I started self-reflecting on everything. Then I researched, I listened to what happened on 7th October. I listened to the Israel side. I looked critically at the Palestinian, the Hamas side, what they did. And then what I did on my YouTube channel, I was like, you know what? If they've raped women, or if they've taken hostages that are like women and children, that's actually very un-Islamic. So then I made a video saying, can all the Muslims like come out and condemn Hamas and the rapes and all that? Because that's un-Islamic. And then what I found is that the majority of Muslims had a go at me. They're like, oh, but the Palestinians are oppressed people. I'm like, yeah, but if they're oppressed people, doesn't mean that they can do un-Islamic stuff. Like, surely you should condemn the un-Islamic acts. And they didn't. And then I decided not to become a pro-Palestinian. So yes, I still condemn, of course, all the deaths in Gaza, but I also condemn 7th October. I support the good humans on both sides. I don't care what religion they are, what country they are, like, I don't care. And I condemn the bad people on both sides. That is my stance now. Because I'm sorry, I'm not supporting people who are doing something un-Islamic and then the other Muslims are not even condemning them. Like, I feel like it's very selective how Muslims choose to condemn people and don't condemn people.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Winston Marshall Show. You can click here to watch the full episode, and for more clips like this one, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, be well.